Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Sam Fury Show. Today, we're diving into Chapter 7 of The Message Game, written by Ice White. Chapter 7 is titled Other People's Messages. What can you learn?
Okay, so you've downloaded all the dating apps, you're swiping like crazy, you finally get that match. Then what?
Right. You freeze up. What do you say?
Because, let's be honest, texting can feel like a whole different beast.
Totally. Like you got to learn a whole new language, the language of dating app messaging.
It's true, which is why we're doing a deep dive into the message game today.
Love that book.
Me too.
Oh.
Especially Chapter 7. It's like a crash course in understanding what those messages coming your way really mean.
Because sometimes just knowing what to look for is half the battle.
Right.
Acted?
Absolutely. Now, one thing this book really nails is that everyone has their own texting style,
Oh, for sure. And the book makes a great point. It all comes down to authenticity. Like how you communicate in person usually carries over to the digital world too.
So you can't really fake it till you make it when it comes to texting.
Not really, no. People can sense when you're trying to be someone you're not.
Which makes sense why so many of us stress over what to say. Now, speaking of potentially stressful situations, the message game also dives into handling objections.
That's going to be tricky.
Totally. But the book actually has this really cool perspective on objections.
Oh, yeah. It's not what you'd think.
Right. Like, it's not always a dead end. They give this great example. A woman messages a guy saying, I'm down for whatever except sex. And, a lot of people might interpret that as a huge red flag, right?
Right.
But the author suggests a playful response. Something like, okay, well, what about a hug then?
I love that because it totally flips the script.
Right.
It shows you're not afraid to be a little flirty, a little playful, and it can actually diffuse that tension instead of making it this big deal.
Which honestly is so important when you're just getting to know someone. But okay, what about those signs that someone is actually into you? Those green lights we all look for.
Oh, yeah. Those little hints, like breadcrumbs.
Exactly. And they aren't always super obvious, right? But the book says it's not always about just agreeing to a date.
Right. It's deeper than that.
It's more about seeing those little signs that they're actually putting in the effort to get to know you.
And one of the biggest green lights, in my opinion, is the effort someone puts into their messages. Like, you can totally tell when someone is just giving you one-word answers or if they're actually taking the time to ask questions and share about themselves.
Yeah, it's the difference between like, hey, and hey, how's your day?
Exactly. Like, imagine you're trying to impress a first date. You're not going to just show up empty-handed, right?
Hopefully not.
It's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
And it's the same with messaging. Putting in that extra effort, that's a huge green flag.
It's true. Okay, but now let's flip the script a little bit.
Yeah.
We've all made mistakes. We've all sent those messages we wish we could take back. So what about the don'ts of texting?
Oh, yeah. Those are important. And the message game has some good ones.
It does. Like, one that made me laugh was, don't try to be funny all the time.
It's easy to fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Because you want to keep things lighthearted.
Exactly. But there's a fine line between charming and, well, trying too hard.
There is. And two other don'ts I thought were really interesting were don't be inconsistent and don't give too many options.
Ooh, okay. Tell me more about those, especially the second one. That one surprises me.
So for the first one, consistency is key because think about it. If you're super confident and flirty on the dating app, but then you're shy and hesitant in texts, that sends mixed signals.
It does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can make the other person unsure of where they stand.
It's important to be genuine, right?
Exactly. Now, about giving too many options, it seems counterintuitive. You'd think it's good to be super accommodating, right? Offering tons of date ideas, letting the other person pick.
Sure. Seems considerate.
Right. But research actually shows that too much choice can be paralyzing. People get overwhelmed and then they end up just not choosing anything at all.
Oh, wow. So it's better to just keep it simple.
Exactly. Offer a couple of strong options, show that you put some thought into it, and let them choose.
That's a really good tip. So if we're talking big picture here, it sounds like a big theme is staying authentic throughout the entire messaging process, no matter what.
100%. And the message game actually ends on a really interesting note about that. It's called congruence, which basically means you should be the same you across all platforms.
So don't be all buttoned up on Match.com and then like a completely different person once you're texting.
Exactly. Be genuine. Let your true self shine through. That's how you'll truly connect with someone.
That's such good advice. Well, there you have it. Our deep dive into the sometimes exhilarating, sometimes baffling world of dating app messaging. Huge thanks to The Message Game for all the great insights.
Such a good read.
Yeah.
It is. Now, for all of you out there navigating the digital dating landscape, here's something to think about. How can you tell if the person you're messaging with is being their authentic self?
Right.
Or if they're playing a character? Because honestly, being able to spot that is a game changer.
It really is. Authenticity is everything.
All right, that's it for today's deep dive. Go forth and message with confidence, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Sam Fury Show. If you found this episode useful, let us know with a like, follow, and share. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to visit samfury.com and join the free newsletter. As a subscriber, you'll receive access to all the original book summaries, which you can download as PDFs, no more than 1 email a week containing a roundup of the latest posts and exclusive content, which is only for the mailing list. It's completely free to join at samfury.com.